Well, hello and happy Armageddon, fill in the blank day, whatever it is, wherever you are, whenever you are. I want to weigh in on a couple of things because I just have a lot to say lately, apparently. Um, so I went on the Twin Flame roller coaster for a while, and it was not fun. And it was, gosh, back in the 2000s, sometime early. Well, still in the 2000s, aren't we? Are we? I don't know. In the early 2000s is what I meant to say. Be precise with your language, darling. Any hootie and the blowfish. I thought I had a twin flame in Hawaii and all this stuff, and it wasn't true, and it was just fantasy and limerence and curated bullshit from this group that I was in where we were all just pining for someone who didn't give a shit if we existed or not. So, I just, are there soulmates? Absolutely. Every person who has a soul can be your mate, and can be a friend, a lover, more of a life partner, a lesson, a test, a gift, a curse. Like, yes, soulmates exist. We meet them all the time in the form of your puppy or your third grade teacher. But a twin flame journey, well, I kind of now really do feel like it's a lot of hogwash and it's a lot of, Hallmark or daytime television women something meets porn, meets, unsatisfying, unfulfilling, carrot and stick, unhealthy, dysfunctional, toxic kind of connections, right? Especially the pining. There's a lot of pining and whining in that community, unfortunately. So there's this whole thing that there's the runner chaser dynamic, and then there's the lean back into your feminine and don't think too much, just blink and look pretty and be a trad wife. And be in your feminine and be receptive. And then there's the masculine of like, be an oak, be a rock, stand for integrity and dignity and honor, which I haven't met anyone like that on this planet of either gender, unfortunately. However, this whole nonsense is meant to like keep us apart and striving for some kind of union or reunion. And it's like, that alchemy needs to begin within. You need to integrate your own masculine and feminine energies. And anyone who's selling you any bullshit about how, they want to set women back to the 50s or the 1850s where we couldn't own property, but we were property. And that's really not changed very much. Though a woman could, in name, be a CEO and wear her high heels and her suit and her power suit and rock it all day long and then come home and, have a wonderful dinner planned. I don't know. This is, again, more fantasy, more limerence, more bullshit, more pedestal and fetishization of the feminine. Okay. So I did it. I did that whole roller coaster for, I think, about 10 years, with different, is this one? Are you the one? Are you the one? Is it you? Is it you? Is it now? Is it this? Is it us? It's like, no wonder I'm single. It's okay. It's okay, Courtney. You'll be okay. Will I? Will we? I don't know. They say bipolar. That's cute. That's for amateurs. You got to be multipolar and multidimensional in this realm. I would say on this planet, but maybe it's a dome, maybe it's a sphere, maybe it's whatever. But no, don't fall into the twin flame hole or sinkhole or pit like I did. There's not one person who's perfect for you, right? Like there's not, you're my forever person. That's it. I'm never gonna look at another human again. That said, I think they curated a lot of cheating and a lot of infidelity and a lot of, straying and wandering eyes and penises for us to just, accept that and normalize that kind of lack of integrity, lack of fidelity, lack of devotion, or devotion that is misapplied, misdirected, and goes in the wrong direction, like your devotion to your ego, for example. I'm just, throwing that out there. So, what am I saying? I'm saying don't buy into I mean, I did too, and there's still parts of it that are very valid and don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. What a horrible expression. Now we understand a whole lot more, don't we? Gloria Vanderbilt, I'm looking at you. Anyway, so where's it going? Round and around. Round and around and around and around we go. Hey, we're riffing. We're just riffing and doing verbal jazz over here. Verbal diarrhea. You take your pick. So yeah, the divine feminine, divine masculine. Now when you guys find out they're all inverted, that's going to seem like an extra sick joke, but it doesn't matter, right? Like it doesn't matter if they're just Ken and they got nothing in the pants, nothing in the brain, nothing in the heart. gender is kind of a construct, but it's also a biological reality that people don't want to face. You know, they want to be very mystical and fluid about that. Um, so whatever. Play with your pronouns, play with your wardrobe. You know, try not to butcher yourself too much, and just live your life. And that's not transphobia. That's understanding the elite gender inversion stuff that goes on at that higher Luciferian levels, and how that's transhumanism and depopulation in the long run. But I digress, and I've already spoken about that ad nauseum and ad length. So just don't fall into the trap that a woman is supposed to be this way, a man is supposed to be that way. I mean, I think we've challenged those norms quite a bit, a little too much sometimes. But I do remember, and I will name this company by name because I do think it was a travesty and a tragedy. I went and I interviewed at Hasbro, and the toy company, and they really pretty much had Barbies and G.I. Joes, and those were their only choices. And I think that's the world we want to leave behind. That's the world we want to say no to. That's the world we want to say that was always ridiculous. Whether it was Barbie, G.I. Joe, Ken, Skipper, whatever, any of those characters, right? Bratz dolls, any of it that's supposed to keep you, you know, more in that pedophilic, youthful, playful, pigtails and lollipop sucking Lolita shit, okay? So, you know, when you find out Kid Rock and Bad Bunny are both females presenting and cosplaying as males, and that one is pretending to be conservative and the other is pretending to be liberal, but they're both Mason puppets, you're going to get the next level of the game unlocked. And you won't be crying when they pull on your heartstrings. You'll be side-eyeing them saying, I see you. You're owned. You're a puppet. Nobody gets to the Super Bowl level without having sacrificed a lot of children, in my opinion. Okay? So don't put any of them on a pedestal. Don't put any human anywhere, ever, on a pedestal. Because it's a recipe for disaster. That's what I'm saying. And this is from someone who's become an unofficial and reluctant muse for some of these assholes and has ended up in lyrics and skits and bits, and that's not me being in my ego. I had to overlook that and pretend that wasn't happening, but it was, and it was wrong, and it is wrong, and it's an abuse of power, an abuse of platform, abuse of privilege, and an abuse of me, frankly. So I don't believe in polarities that are manufactured, you know, that are Masonic, that black and white checkerboard we talked about this week, right? I believe in, you know, yes, there can be men with softer sides, though I'm not loving the trend of them being a little too inaction-oriented or inactive. Passive, that's the word. And I'm not always a fan of really harsh women who have to go and, you know, have pissing contests and be like men. So can you just be a human and let the gender stuff kind of fade into the background instead of being so front and center and so identity oriented? Like, really, I was a Gen X kid who climbed trees and skinned knees and rode bikes. I have walked on hot coals. I have swum with dolphins. I have jumped out of a plane. I've done all the adventurous so-called male things. And I'm also a nurturer. I took care of a lot of children. I was a nanny for many, many years, decades even. And so, you know, they're the ones selling you this is a feminine quality, this is a masculine quality. They're the ones dividing it instead of helping you unify it. They're the ones saying women should just kind of sit there and look pretty and just be feely and not thinky because that's too upsetting for the boys. You know, like, fuck that. No, we have graduated from those programs. Stop trying to keep them alive or active. That's all I want to say about that. Have a great day. Be your feminine self, be your masculine self, be your whole self. And then a lot of this garbage will fall by the wayside. And, you know, love everybody as best you can. And when people are tormenting you, you remove and withdraw your love and put it elsewhere where people are receptive and open. That's all.